People around the table, the reason Josh is here is because I had a meeting with Mike Barker, who called me in suddenly and said, hey, there's this guy, and he's got something really interesting. Your folks in the Load Research Chapter might be very interested in what he has to say. And Josh started talking about what he'd done, and it was actually rather interesting. I must say, at this stage, Josh, I'm not in a position to introduce you, but I hope you can introduce you to us and then give us an overview of what you've done with this tariff database.
Thanks, everyone, for having me here. I'm Josh Dippenaar from Sustainable Energy Africa. Marcus asked for sort of a 15-minute presentation on this electricity tariff database that we've developed. So I'm going to keep you in suspense and get there at the end. I just thought maybe a quick few slides about who Sustainable Energy Africa is and what our work is around supporting municipalities, and then some thoughts on solar or SSEG tariffs, small-scale embedded generation tariffs, and then this tariff database that we've pulled together, which might be of use to some people in the room. So Sustainable Energy Africa supports cities, local government with sustainable energy development, improving energy access and planning and mobility. And we do this through research, capacity building, policy engagement, and disseminating information. We're an NGO based in Cape Town. And so some project examples I put together this morning was this South African New Buildings program, which is to support these 4 metros to develop net zero carbon new building policies. So they've signed commitments that from 2030, all of their new builds will be carbon neutral. And so we're the implementing partner. It's a C40-led project, and we've placed someone in each department working internally to build capacity around what this means, getting the billing systems within the electricity department so that they can meter buildings, etc. And we've just recently put this guide together with Green Building Council to getting to zero. That's going to be launched at the Green Building Convention that's coming up. And then the second example is this SAIEE funded program to support municipalities with energy transition. We work closely with SALGA-GIZ-DMRE, and we've had a bunch of SSEG trainings, so SSEG and then cost of supply. Got to keep the acronyms going. These are the sort of 2 main areas of work for this project. So we supply methodologies, and we've put together a cost of supply working group with, I think, ESCAS. I think there may be some colleagues from ESCOM here. So ESCOM's working closely with them. And yeah, so that's an idea of sort of the work we do. And then, if of interest, here's a bunch of the municipalities. Always nice to see on a map that we've had at trainings for small-scale embedded generation. And here are the partners. And then these municipal trainings cover everything from what policy they need to have in place for embedded generation, what an application form should look like when customers want to apply, assessing the applications, commissioning, what bidirectional meters need to be installed, and then tariffs and these other bits and pieces. And so today I'm just going to open up the tariffs work that we've been doing. And so typically with the municipality, what they're most interested in is when a normal customer on standard electricity tariffs moves across to becoming a solar PV customer on these SSEG tariffs. So the municipalities want to know what's the change in revenue. And so we've put this model together with Genesis Analytics, and it's a really comprehensive model that looks at municipal revenue and how it changes when customers install SSEG and does production and consumption over 20 years. And all these models are open source, so that it is available on our website, sseg.org.za. And so is the database that I'm getting to in a moment. So, I mean, if of interest, people are always interested in SSEG and revenue and stuff. So this is always a nice slide. So what we sort of say to municipalities is that this green block is saying that a municipality is going to reduce their revenue if someone installs solar PV because you're going to reduce the sales to that customer. But there's also this associated decrease in costs from your reduced bulk power purchases. So they're buying less from Eskom and they're also selling less to the customers. Another reduction in revenue is that they need to compensate the customers for feeding into the grid. So this export tariff, so that's another reduced revenue, but that is also cheaper electricity to on-sell. And then in most cases, there's a slight reduction in technical losses. And so balancing these 5 components to have a revenue neutral SSEG tariff is what municipalities are interested in. And so then we've built some case studies and worked on municipalities' actual tariffs and said, look at this example in Metro 1, which is eThekwini. I think this is 2019 tariff. What happens in eThekwini when customers move across? So we've modeled that. And then what happens here in Tshwane when customers move across? And what happens here in George when customers move across? From this normal flat residential tariff to the SSEG tariff. And then through building these case studies, we've been, as you can see, pulling all these tariffs from these NERSA tariff books. And on the left here, this is what the NERSA tariff books look like. I'm sure most people have seen them. It's this PDF by province, and it's just in PDF format, and it was very frustrating. So we spent some time to write a macro to extract the tariffs from the PDFs and put it into a Excel database format. So came out to over 6,000 NERSA approved municipal electricity tariffs. And after seeing that, we've been asking the question why NERSA is considered undercapacitated by many sort of industry commentators. And I think this on the right-hand side is really what I shared with Mike and Marcus, and they thought it's really interesting. And as I said, it's all open source and available. I can even quickly share my screen now and show the spreadsheet. And so the potential uses of having every single South African electricity tariff in one database is that you can do really easy benchmarking of municipal tariffs. You can filter out, what's the average fixed charge or basic charge in Gauteng. You can get that in sort of 3 seconds. And we've been showing this to NERSA and hoping that they use the database. Another potential use is that you can calculate the business case for solar PV across every municipality and each tariff also very quickly. It's all there. So we're hoping people use it for these applications. And it's just simply much easier than filtering through a PDF when you're trying to find a tariff for your sister's coffee shop. She asks you, is my electricity tariff too high? Then you can quickly go overlook here. And I'm sure there's many more uses that you, ladies and gentlemen, rather, can think of. This is just what I thought of this morning. So before I jump into what's next, if I may quickly maybe I'll just share my whole screen.
Sorry, Josh, I don't want to distract you. I just said, I think this is quite nice and it would be good to geocode this.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's interesting. So this is, it's very simple. This is what it looks like at the moment. It's just a sort of Excel database format. And yeah, as I said, if you scroll through all of them, you get down to 6,000 municipal electricity tariffs that have been approved. And so, as I said, it's really easy to do the filtering of, let's say we were saying the average basic charge in Gauteng. I think it should be here, the basic charge. So I just filter out, is this where basic charge? Yeah, so you can see all the naming conventions are quite different, So basic monthly, basic charge. So I think I've grabbed all the basic charges. So let's see, I think that's Gauteng, all the basic charges, and then here they all are. And then if I just select them all down here, I'm getting an average of 3,690 Rand per month is the average basic charge across all customers in Gauteng. And then maybe we wanted to say, hang on, but that's unfair. Let's look at only, residential or something. Then you could filter out residential here, 3-phase domestic. And so that's the use of it. And this is really it. I think it's quite useful. It hasn't been put to use anywhere. So we're hoping that sharing it at forums like these might find a use. And so kind of closing thoughts, we're thinking what's next, and we haven't really found much of a use of it except for those applications I just mentioned. We would think, making it available to everyone. So it's on our sseg.org.za website /NERSA tariff database, or if you just search it, it's under tariff support documents. It needs to be updated annually. So there's this macro, but it still takes a bit of time because if there are some mistakes in the PDF, then it throws the macro out. So I still need to update it for the new municipal tariffs as of July. And then I think this is what we really want to do, is to work with NERSA to develop an official tariff database rather than them publishing their tariffs in PDF format. If they can publish something in spreadsheet format, I think that'll be much more useful to everyone in the sector. I think that's my last slide. And then I just said thank you. And here's our office block here in Cape Town. We are sitting now, and we've got 14 kilowatts of PV on the roof. So thanks for your time, and thanks for inviting me, Mark and Mike. And I've provided the link. Happy to share the presentation, or I can paste the link into the chat if anyone wants to download the spreadsheet and use it for the application. So thanks.
Josh, many thanks for this presentation. I seem to have a bit of an echo on my side. I'm not sure what to do about it. I hope it doesn't affect the audience too much. Mike, any following on thoughts from this?
Yeah, thanks, Marcus. Thanks, Josh. That was brilliant. I really am pretty excited about what you're doing. Marcus, with your permission, can I just share something and give you some feedback on what I think could be done with this treasure trove of data?
Yeah, I also have another comment, and maybe, Josh, you can prepare yourself. How closely does this reproduce what is in the tariff books? Because there seem to be many business rules almost that are contained within the tariff books, if you know what I mean. Just something to think about. Mike, go ahead. We have about 10 minutes before the next speaker arrives, so let's consider this. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and share this quickly. So the first thing is there's a paper that's come out focused on how much energy do people need to provide themselves with a decent living. And we know Andre de Ruyter has been questioning the cost of energy, and we need to support Eskom perhaps, because maybe the cost of energy is too low. We've just been wasteful. And what I'd like to do then is take this data, the amount of energy needed for decent living, and convert that into a cost for the various municipalities. So the database would work pretty well there. Then, if you remember, I've been talking a little bit about semantic data models. Now, the OpenEI people have an international utility rate database, and I'm now looking to take Josh's material. We've got a young guy that's probably going to be able to help with this, and get this data into this utility rate database, which would then allow it to be automatically used in a number of packages, including the NREL SAM, the PV analysis package. We could use it in Energy Plus. There's a number of applications that can use. So I think that would be a very positive thing. If we have a look here, at the moment, we can see that places like Colombia and many developing countries are putting their utility rates into this database. And the good thing, of course, is once you've done that, it can be used automatically often in the parametric analysis that you might want to run using PV analysis systems. Okay, thanks, Marcus.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I would think that the challenge here is if a resource like this is set up, is to kind of get assurance that, from a resource to utilization, that we somehow maintain that path and that it is refreshed by people that care about it. Josh, do you have any feelings about the refresh cycle on something like this, and whether you'll be able to sustain it? Because you're the broadcaster.
Yes, I think, it's difficult to know what the future holds, but I think there are sort of funders interested enough in this for now to fund updates, and GIZ will happily fund this for the next sort of 2 years at least. So I think we can definitely hold it for now, and hopefully we can get NERSA to start developing this themselves. I think that's the ultimate goal, is because I think they really should be publishing something like this. If they've got all the data, rather than publishing it means more effort to put it into a PDF than to just publish it straight in Excel. So we're trying to get them as the broadcaster.
Josh, what's your feeling about kind of how much more ironing a data set like this requires before it's fully machine readable in a way, as in can be applied without any selection errors by people in sitting at computers.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not that clued up on databases and semantic databases. I don't really know what that means, but I think the macro is, well, we're reasonably sure of its accuracy. It's just when there's small mistakes in the database. So here's the PDF it pulls from, and here's like Eastern Cape tariffs as an example. And then what it does is it looks top left for this municipality name with a percentage after it, and then it grabs that as the municipality name, and it says, this is the tariff type, and then this is the tariff. But as an example, when that space is omitted, then it gets it wrong. So yeah, so I think it does still need some sense checking, perhaps. But we can also work with NERSA to get them, I think, in Excel format would be ideal. And then,
Josh, this is a great resource. The trick is to just get it through the iterations. Mike, that's probably something you'll have to watch out for with your semantic stuff, is the standardization of tags and so on, so that it selects well without sort of user error.
Yeah, so I think the idea is we don't want to pull it off the PDF. We want it straight out of a spreadsheet. It probably originates in the spreadsheet at NERSA, and I can't see why they wouldn't want to release that spreadsheet to us, so that in time to come we can automate this process and validate its accuracy. Are you speaking to anybody at NERSA at the moment?
yes, we are, and might blow your mind, but it doesn't actually originate in a database format. It's typed out. Yeah, so the calculations are done by hand.
Oh dear.
So this is the first time getting it into database format. But we'll keep working on that, and thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully it's useful for now. There might be some bugs in it, but mostly not. We've checked most of it.
Now, for me, the issue, I mean, Mike is, he's a hungry user. The trick is going to be, it might take some ironing, but to get it into a form where there's some sort of understanding of standard tags, and the standard tags can be used for the user and or a database to select without error, so it doesn't break any business rules within the tariff books, Am I talking sense?
I think so.
You're very kind, thank you. Anybody that's ever hit a drop-down list with many options, this is the problem. When you have people in front of computers and they must select something out of a list, how do you assure that they select what they actually intended from the list? I know Ati and guys like Ati and Hilton are quite familiar with this sort of problem. Josh, thank you very much for presenting, and thanks to Mike for bringing it up. It's much appreciated. Josh, thank you very much for attending and for showing us this. It's rather exciting.